Have you ever noticed that people tend to repeat the same things in their lives? For instance, someone who's always struggling financially, or someone who continues to drop the ball, even though opportunities come around, they just still can't get it right. And what happens is it's about something deeper, something a little deeper behind the scenes. 9 times out of 10, it is the person's beliefs that are unfolding into their reality. So all of the signs in our lives, if there's things that you've noticed that are patterns and things that just don't seem right or don't seem the way you want them to be, pay attention, because it could be, well, it is your life allowing you to see what you truly believe internally. Our beliefs are like invisible instructions running quietly in the backgrounds of our lives. So it's just like a computer that runs background, like that runs the software in the background. Like when you open up an app, you don't see what all the code that was written for the app. All you see is that the app has screens and it has different links and things that you can go to. It's the same thing. So our life is pretty much showing us whatever the background beliefs that we have going on internally. And the fascinating part is that most of these beliefs we've created or was programmed a long time ago. Mostly it was when you were a child or from your parents. And honestly, we consume so much information now due to social media and the programming of TV, television, like it is saying to tell a vision. So when we are absorbing and consuming all of these things, our internal beliefs are being written, our code is being changed, our program and our software is changing to the things that we feed ourselves. So if your parents used to say that funny saying, money doesn't grow on trees, it's those little bitty small things that write the code for a scarcity mindset and a lack mindset, because money don't grow on trees. But in actuality, if you believe that money is fruitful and resources are everywhere, you will start to see resources everywhere. You will start to see opportunities to have value, opportunities that have value everywhere. And on the flip side, if you feel as though money don't grow on trees, then it will be scarce. You won't see money on trees. You won't see money every chance and every turn you get. So what is your belief system? What is your software playing in on the background? And it's as easy as figuring out or being more observant of what's truly going on in your life. And I honestly feel like the even deeper, darker part about, and it's not dark unless it is something that is, of course, affecting, or unless it's something that is influencing an outcome that we don't want to have, is that these ideas and sayings and beliefs get down into our subconscious mind. And when it gets down into our subconscious mind, it becomes a part of us. It becomes what we see in our reality. It becomes a part of our identity. And the interesting thing about it is that I believe it's things that we don't even realize, which is, I think, why videos like this are so important. Because when we decide to wake up and start to really see the things that we say, things that we think, and honestly the things that we say and think, that is showing you what you believe, you can change them. For me, I believe that was my first step. It was paying attention to the things that I say, paying attention to my thoughts. And then when I started to do that one little thing, things changed in like little bitty pieces, right? So I started to be more of an observer. I wasn't just sleepwalking through life. And I started to pay attention to my own thoughts about things, and I started to pay attention to the things that I said about things and how I felt about things. And even to that, I made my whole life an experiment. So when I would go out with my friends and hang out, I would come home and I would unpack different things that I noticed about people, and I would unpack the things that I said in responses. And it allowed me to really pay attention to who I was, what I was thinking, and it allowed me to make changes. It allowed me to tweak and delete this code and add this code in there and add this HTTP. I did a little coding. Add different things to my program so that I could start to experiencing the things out in the world when I go out into the world, what I wanted to experience. And the other part about that is that it allowed me to have like these, like I felt like my ears open to hear other people's beliefs. Because once I started to pay attention to myself, quite naturally, I was able to pay more attention to others too. To the point that the people that I was really close with, like my mom and my family, I would catch them and I would say, no, don't say those things. Like, pay attention to the things you say, like your words. That's why it's called spelling. Like your words are casting spells. So it allowed me to change my life and change how I saw the world and change how the world responded to me. And we are made so magical. Like, in all honesty, like I feel as though like the basis of computers and everything is made off the human body. Like or God is a programmer. Our brains are so magical, right? And it's so funny because I feel like either we are like made off of code and like the codes and computers were copied from us, and it really makes me think like God is a programmer because of how interesting things are connected to our body, and that really shows like the outside world, which is really what computers do, right? Like, programmers write code, and that is how the program shows up on the screen, but you don't see the code, right? It's all inside. But in any case, our brain has this system called the reticular activating system. And this system pretty much scans things in the world and highlights things that are important to us. So that's why if you believe things are scarce and money doesn't grow on trees, your brain will show you obstacles at every turn. You will see lack in everything. You will never have enough. Like, if that is what's happening in your life, it's probably a program that has been downloaded into your system. And the interesting thing about that, just like we can drag stuff to the junk on our computers, we can do the same thing. We can override this code by changing our beliefs and changing our thoughts. For me, I felt like when I started to change and alter thoughts that I was thinking, and not necessarily looking at them as bad or good, because I feel like that affects things too. Like looking at something as like being bad, but not looking at something as being bad, even if you do have this scarcity, because that was something that I had to overcome as well. But allowing yourself just to observe and then to input, right? So you have this anxiety that you're not going to have enough. And the interesting thing about it, 9 times out of 10, you're like me, like I've always had, like, you always have enough, but you allow yourself to get in these frenzies. Like when I was dealing with that, I allowed myself to get in these very hostile, internal, hormonal, emotional states that my body was experiencing these things. Change those thoughts. I always have more than enough. I have so much more that I have to give. I love when I'm out with my friends and my family, I purposefully buy things for them. It keeps me in this, I always have enough for me and anybody that's around me. If someone doesn't have it, they're short, at one point I was doing this where I took cash out and I would give to homeless people. If I saw them, they were asking for money, like I had got to the point I was keeping cash so that I can have money to give. Because, you know, that's the thing now. We don't keep cash. But I allowed myself to be in these situations to feel as though I had enough to give. I had enough for me, and I have enough to give to, you know, a stranger and my family as well. So try some of these experiments, especially if you are experiencing things of lack. Another thing that I know a lot of people identify with, whether that's, you know, I just feel like this fitness and your body image is so big now, right? And what I do know is that if you've ever watched someone's transformation, like, you see them become a different person. You see their habits change. You see their attitude change. And some people are in the gym with, you know, with a little stuff hanging out, but they already have identified with being, oh, I'm a fitness influencer, or I love my body. Whether it is, you know, soft or firm or in between, like, I love my body regardless. So the next time you decide to, or you see something in the world that you want to adapt and want to bring on and change your own identity, watch your thoughts about it. Because if you observe your thoughts about it, and if it's something that's not aligning up with what you want it to be, which 9 times out of 10 is not, because if it was, you wouldn't have any thoughts about it. And this is why I believe, like, spiritual philosophers and spiritual leaders, they always talk about believing and assuming that the wish is fulfilled, because all of these things flow into you changing your thoughts about them. Like, he talked about how attention becomes your reality. And Neville Goddard, one of the old time, you know, just everything he says is so simple and so profound. He talks about, you know, having the wish being fulfilled and how your imagination becomes your reality. And they all pretty much say the same thing about, you know, your belief system and the things that you think and becoming this identity that you want to experience. So I challenge you to ask yourself this very powerful question. And it's that, what belief would the person have to hold to live the life that you want to live? If it's someone that's successful, what do they believe? Do they believe that there's opportunities everywhere and money comes to me naturally and opportunities flow to me easily? If it's to be a professional athlete or to have this perfect physique, think about what this person's belief system is, because your beliefs are pretty much the mirrors of your life. In all honesty, when people see you, they see how you feel about yourself, how you think about yourself, and your belief system. If you are someone that's a little more in tune and a little more aware, like, I'm always conscious about the people that I'm around, because when people aren't talking, when people aren't performing, how do they really feel about themselves? Like, how do they really sit? Are they calm? Are they confident? Are they reserved? Do they seem timid? Because all of these things, like, sometimes when people are out in social settings, like, they know they have to put on, but how do people act when there's not a lot of people watching and when people are just settled with themselves? You start to realize that you can tell a lot about people by just paying attention. So figure out what belief system this person has to have if you are not living the life and you're not experiencing the life that you want to experience, and then change it. Start to notice what your belief systems are, and if they don't align, because if it's something that you want to experience it, because if your belief system was aligning, then you would be experiencing that. Change it. If you need help with it, let me know. And the moment we begin questioning our belief systems, we honestly realize that a lot of them weren't consciously chosen. They were most likely inherited from family, friends, programs that you watched when you were a kid, teachers from school. And the moment you realize that these weren't yours that were chosen, these weren't your ideas and belief system that you actually chose yourself, it gives you the power to realize you can rewrite them. And when you rewrite your belief system, you will rewrite your life. And you'll realize that your reality is not from circumstances. It's from the belief system that you've inherited. And once you have that power to change and take it back, the world is yours. In my last video, we talked about identity. In this one, we explored how beliefs are so important to our lives. And in my next video, we're going to talk about how your attention creates your reality.